Hello, this is Jan Cosgrove with this week's edition of Bognor Herald Video News. In this edition, reaction to Andrew Griffith MP's support for sending channel crossing migrants to Rwanda, and the idea of One Bognor. What is it? What would it mean? But first, a Zoom interview with Roger Nash about his involvement in reviving the sea shanty tradition. A bit of, don't he knock it all back at once, lad, aha! Hello, this is Jan Cosgrove for Bognor Regis Video News, and I've got with me a well-known local person, Roger Nash. Roger used to be a ward councillor for Pevensey Ward. He was the lead of the Labour group at Arundel District Council and, memorably, town mayor. And first thing I'll say to Roger is, do you recall the time when you were mayor and I was chairman of the Town Council Finance Committee and we introduced Town Force?
Yeah, I do remember it very well. We're looking at 1999, 2000, if I remember rightly.
I think it was when we actually held the chairman. You held the mayor, and I held as chairman of that committee at the town council. And in my view, it's gone on from strength to strength. That's one down to you.
Sorry, say that again.
I said it's gone on from strength to strength, and it's down to you. I have to say.
It's been going over 20 years now, Town Force, and you're quite right. It has gone from strength to strength. It's made a big difference to the town. It's been used by other authorities outside of the town. I know that.
Even Aldwick near Chichester, I understand.
Yeah, it's getting the graffiti, planting roundabouts, helping events. It's been absolutely valuable. Wonderful.
Well, that's one down to you. And of course, you're also, are you still a vice president of the Rocks, a football club?
No, I'm only involved on the periphery now. I'm involved in rocks in the community, with community events and things like that.
Excellent. And you've also, I think, involved with helping the theatre as well, or you have been?
Yeah, I volunteer at the Regis Centre, and I've been working mainly on getting outside funding for the theatre. We've been quite successful over the last few years. We've raised, getting on for £200,000 from.
That's pretty good achievement.
Mainly in the Arts Council with the COVID situation, emergency funding and the COVID funding as well. So that's obviously been useful from the point of view of the theatre.
Well, let's cut then to the arts and specifically to music. Now, you were instrumental when the Rocks Festival, ROX, went down for a little while in getting a festival by the Town Council, but you've also been involved very much in the South Downs Folk Festival, which is running again this year.
That's right, yeah. Well, I mean, the Rocks thing, that was back in, I think I'm about to say 2001, 2002. We called it Bognor Live. It was at the Royal Norfolk Hotel. Had Brotherhood of Man and Bad Manners, I seem to remember.
Remember them, yeah.
And then going along, 2013, we started the first South Downs Folk Festival. And that's been running ever since. Not in 2020, obviously, because of COVID. But it ran last year, it's run again this year, and it's now called the South Downs Music Festival because we have such a wide range of musical styles.
Indeed, and of course you've also instrumental in getting the ukulele local business off the ground as well. Yes,
that's right. We started what's called the South Downs Ukulele Festival, again part of the whole thing, in 2018. Last year we introduced another thing called Shanty Showdown. Shanty singing is very popular. Also, the first South Downs Americana Festival. And this year we're hoping to introduce a seafront music stage because we're going to close the seafront for 3 days between Clarence Road and Lennox Street. But and a big dance program as well. And we're hoping to make that into what we call the South Downs Dance Festival. So there's lots of good plans for 2022 and some great headlines, including Lindish Farm, Spears and Bowden, The Men That Couldn't Hang, the Ley Lines. So, it's an excellent lineup.
I have to say, you have been an extremely busy member of our community, but that's not all. So, Captain Roger, or Jolly Roger, should we call you? Can you tell us about the Shanty Heads, this revival in an interest, as I gather, in sea shanties?
Yeah, that's right. Well, a good friend of mine, Dave, a guy called Dave Watkins, is the key organizer of that. And so we had the first shanty showdown last year under Marquee in Waterloo Square, which was really, really successful. Then shanties singing all around the town during the festival. And then since then, we've had some outreach projects which have been funded by the Sussex Community Foundation and also the lottery. Um, Shanty Heads, which is for people that just want to sing shanty songs, which is based at the Rafa Club. And then started last month something called Family Shanty, where we bring families together, younger children, sort of parents and children, or grandparents and children, playing together up with a very good tutor called Mark Lake, and that's been very successful. And we've also been running now for the last few years what's called Making Your Mark, where we get people to beginners and ukulele, or people who want to improve, and it's all about enjoying it, mental well-being, etc., etc. So that's been very successful, and we do that in Bognor and in Selsey.
Terrific. I mean, the shanty bit, I mean, we all remember, probably as kids in my generation, yours, we always remember singing sea shanties, probably rather bowdlerized ones, but we remember those. Obviously, there's also Long John Silver and Yo Ho Ho and a bottle of rum. But it's very, very traditional. I mean, but where does the tradition go? And back to, and by the way, what is popular about it? Why do you think it caught back on?
Well, I think it's been in the music industry the last certainly couple of years. There've been some the Wellerman, very, very good shanty song. It's been a real big hit, and it's really caught on. It's something which is simple. It's not complicated. It gets you out. It gets you singing, and it improves your mental well-being. And I think the live music is becoming more and more popular, and it's becoming certainly the case that more and more people want to actually have a go at it. And I think that's why shanty singing, along with ukulele and other things, but those two in particular, have become more and more popular.
I'm absolutely fascinated. I mean, there's so much classical music that has sea shanty elements, so not British music. As you know, I'm interested in that, and there's a lot of good stuff there. So I think the message is, where do people find out about Shanty Heads and the Folk Festival? There's Facebook pages, presumably.
Yeah, well, we got a Facebook page, but if you go to southdownsfolkfest.co.uk, then all the information is there about the festival this year, about the outreach projects, about Shanty Heads, about Family Shanty and Making Your Mark. Everything is there. But if you just Google that, or go on to search on Facebook, South Downs Folk Festival, and also Shanty Heads. We've got a separate Facebook page for that. There's loads of information there, and all the on the website and on the Shanty Heads Facebook page, all the various songs are uploaded, lyrics and everything like that, so people can see, practice at home, and then come together to sort of make a good sound and have a good sing-song.
Well, we'll always carry it on the Herald Facebook page. One thing that occurs to me is that now, as you're probably aware of the issue around revival of fishing locally, with Clive Mills and other people, which the Herald is very much behind, as I think is a major visitor attraction in the years to come. So I hope that the shanty tradition, we're well engaged in that business. As people, you should be there as people land the fish. You're there, yo-ho-hoing along. Don't you knock it all back at once, sort of stuff. But I think, for me, the fact that the fishing goes back not just to good old Buka in 680 AD, the Saxon lady who gives the town its name, but it also goes back tens of thousands of years before then. I mean, it's an incredible thing that we've got here, an asset, and I think it could help transform Bognor. You've got the artistic sort of credentials to help it.
Absolutely right. I mean, my hat's off to people like Clive Mills mixed here and several others to get the fishing back by the pier. You may be aware, again, when I was mayor, we tried to get the fishermen of the time to
Yep.
sell fresh fish. It never happened, but now it has happened, which is great.
Yep, it's a pleasure.
It's proving to be really popular because I know that lots of people go there now. I mean, and they put on online on social media when they're going to be around, when the catch is coming in. So all the fish that is on for sale is absolutely fresh. I know that lots of people, local people, go and get it now. Lots of restaurateurs as well, and it just proves what we knew 20 years ago, that something like this would be a real attraction, and it's something that the town wants. And it just sounds crazy to me that here we've got the sea in front of us, the English Channel, and then you go up opposite side onto France, and there you've got fresh fish all the time. Or we can do the same thing here.
And indeed, come on, Rick Stein, get your restaurant down here, your quality restaurant.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Stein, you're welcome to Bognor.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Rog, thanks you very much. You and I go back a long way, and I'm always impressed at the way you're fully rooted in the community. You're an example to us all, and obviously give our love to your other half, to Pauline, and we'll keep watching, and we'll try and carry as much as we can about all of these activities. So thanks for your time, Rick.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Jan.
So, this idea of sending migrants reaching here, having crossed the English Channel from France, over 4,000 miles to Rwanda. Andrew Griffith MP for Arundel and South Downs supports this idea. Home Secretary Priti Patel says, at the heart of this approach is fairness. Access to the UK's asylum system must be based on need, not on the ability to pay people smugglers. The demands on the current system, the cost to the taxpayer, and the flagrant abuses are increasing. The British public have rightly had enough. That is why we are overhauling this broken system. Our new plan for immigration will improve support for those directly fleeing oppression, persecution and tyranny through safe and legal routes, deter illegal entry and make it easier to remove those with no right to be in the UK. So, will it help those fleeing a war or oppression, as in Ukraine, or Yemen, or Syria, or Afghanistan? It's claimed it would deter people smugglers, which is odd because Israel, which had such a deal with Rwanda, scrapped it because of people trafficking of refugees they sent there in Rwanda, a country not noted for its human rights record and noted for its corruption. Patel's family history includes fleeing from Uganda. There was opposition here. It was racist. Would she have wanted to have reached here and then been removed to another country? Mr. Griffith says, from putting the military in charge of the English Channel, passing the Nationality and Borders Bill, to sending adult male asylum seekers to Rwanda, it is essential that we control immigration, which is one of the drivers of the pressures to build on the precious green spaces of West Sussex. I kid you not. Britain has a proud tradition of providing sanctuary to those in need. Yes, it has. And this government has done more than any other in recent history. Since 2015, we have offered a place of safety to over 185,000 in need. And that's before our unlimited offer to Ukrainian refugees. I wonder if he has any clue as to why people, including the young men referred to, are fleeing from where they live. It's war, oppression, poverty, murder, not just in the Ukraine. To place such people, many of whom are desperate in such 1984 situation, would be unforgivable. And just a thought, had Ukrainians been other than white, would this government have been so generous? Russia is helping Syria war on its own people. There are those in Yemen suffering a brutal war. Boris says Brexit freedoms are allowing this new plan. How? The EU was not forcing refugees on us. This is a lie. What is meant is that we are now in an era when Britain rips up well-understood international conventions and replaces them with what has been called cruel and unworkable behaviour. I find Mr. Griffith's strictures about West Sussex's precious green space pretty nauseating and ridiculous. As for Ukraine, the week has produced even more appalling stories, including the murder of hands-tied children seen by Shane Matthews of Chichester, and the rape of children and babies, including an 11-year-old boy degraded while his mother had to watch. She was tied to a chair. As with Hitler, so with Putin. When people are described as subhumans, oppressors treat them as such. Mr. Putin and his cronies, they have to be held to account, and they have to be removed. The dehumanizing training to which Russian conscripts are subjected shows what results. Atrocities, murder, deportations even. Not much of that being spoken about, but tens of thousands of people deported. All intended as a weapon of war on civilians. Now, the way Bognor Regis and its surrounding area is governed. Did you know that at this time 3 councils have responsibilities for different aspects of Bognor Regis town? Or that this increases to no less than 8 when we consider the whole urban area stretching from Pagham to Elmer, some 63,000 people and growing. These councils are at 3 levels. There is West Sussex County Council, responsible for education, highways, child and adult care. Then Arundel District Council, taking on housing, environmental health, planning, licensing, etc. Both these councils are called principal, if not principled, and have statutory duties laid out by Parliament. Now, in Brighton and Hove and in Portsmouth, these duties are combined in each area to one council called unitary. All of these principal councils are, of course, elected by votes being cast in local elections. The ground level, as one might call it, is parish, and here, in this area, we have 6 such: Aldwick, Bursted, Bognor Regis Town, the largest, Felpham, Middleton and Pagham. They too are elected, but except for Middleton and Bognor Town, none have all of their councillors voted for. Aldwick has 5 out of 13. The others, none of them have been voted for. Yet they can make decisions which spend our money, comment on planning in our name and more. Why? How does that happen? Because if there are not enough people nominated to fill the places available, those put up get elected unopposed. No votes, no ballot needed. Now, I'm not saying they cannot do good things. They do. But in this day and age, surely such a cosy club system is not what this area, I mean the urban area of 63,000 people, needs. One Bognor's proposal is that there should be a single parish level council for the whole area. I don't know what it would be called, but all elected and voted for democratically. Maybe 30 such councillors to cover the new parish level, also with a budget combined from the current parish budgets and quite a few assets such as land and buildings, and so able to do a lot more. In due course, it's likely the current Arran West Sussex setups will be replaced by a single unitary. There are various models. Already, the current parish level councils are not able to work together to give the area the voice it needs when dealing with Arran. They fail to do it forever. Replacing 8 councils with 2 surely is a step in the right direction and more efficient. What are your thoughts? Why not share them on our Facebook page, where you can also find daily updates of news, sport and more, and also on our main page with even more news and information from this local area. Well, from me, that's all until next time. Goodbye.